This is CCTV, talking to people who mean business. In partnership with the best UK LED lighting manufacturer ever, Ricoman. Our first guest simply needs no introduction. Gail Porter.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
Really good, and so excited.
Oh, it's really not exciting, believe you me.
It is for us.
Oh, really, it's not. Well, I'm glad you're excited.
We are. So how are you? How are you getting on?
Yeah, it's I'm struggling with sleep, to be honest with you. That's my main thing. Just kind of because it's like all the days are running into one. But I've got lots of Zooms and I've got a conference tonight. So I've got 2 hours of that.
Obviously I've watched the documentary because I'm a massive fan. But do you find because I know you suffer from anxiety, don't you? And I get anxiety as well. Really badly some days. And do you find it easier then going out and about and being able to be out, with no one there? Like it's quite freeing, isn't it?
It was, do you know what? I think it was the most chilled I've been since this third lockdown, whatever we're on, is started, because there was nobody about. And it wasn't until I got to Soho, someone was like, Gail, and I started going, oh my God. And
Who the hell is that?
Lovely friend Shelley, so it was fine because she's a lot older than me, and she had a bag of frogs, and she was just like away from me, and she's going, I'm going for a coffee in a park, and I was like, okay. But that was like, oh my God, someone's out.
Someone's somewhere.
But it was so nice. Yeah, Charlotte. It was just literally, I was like, nobody. So I thought, I'm not going home until I have to.
So we just wanted to say, obviously, massive thank you for coming on to CCTV.
Thank you.
It's literally our first episode as well. So you're like an amazing first guest. And yeah, I remember watching your documentary when at the time I was living in Chippenham. Literally had come out of a relationship that just was awful, to be honest with you, and at the time was having a really bad time, and my self-talk was terrible, and I totally related to you in that documentary where you almost went through your whole journey, didn't you, of and your journey as a mother as well, where you felt that you had made mistakes or done things that you would do differently or what have you, and that you still came out at the end of it having such a beautiful relationship with Honey. And yeah, it was just so lovely. It really, really, really touched me watching that. So thank you.
I told her not to watch it, but of course, you can't say anything to a teenager. I said, just don't watch it. I don't want you to watch it. And then she came after it had been on telly. I didn't watch it. I'd gone out on the lash. I was like, oh,
That's very sensible, I think.
She turned up the next day and she just got into my bed and she just cuddled me. And it's like, you watched it, didn't you? She went, I love you. And I was like, so I thought we would have gone one way or the other. Either she thought it was completely mental, or she got all cuddly and defensive over mum. So it was quite weird, but yeah, there you go.
But Charlotte's basically a massive fan of yours, so she's probably hoping you're going to be secret best friends after this show finishes.
I'm blushing now.
The fact that we're sitting here now with you, with Gail Porter, we're literally pinching ourselves, and it feels like a pretty career defining moment, to be perfectly honest. I'm well chuffed.
God, well, I'm flattered, but yeah, because do you know what I get? My daughter tends to go, because a lot goes to junk, and if it doesn't come up, and I get a bit stressed, and then some days I look at my emails and some days I don't, and yours came up, and I was like, yeah, girls, let's go for it. And I thought, they'll never get back to me, and so there we go.
You must be kidding. Every time you responded, we were literally having a mini party.
There was one of your interviews that I was watching, Gail, and in the interview you had said, I can't remember what one it was now, but you had said that mostly now you'll ask questions, or when you go to speak, it's about mental health and alopecia, but you said that they obviously you've got a ton of interests and you've done so many different things. So in an ideal world for you, what would you like people to be asking you about?
Oh, do you know what? I don't mind talking about mental health, and I don't mind talking about hair. But I think it was just originally when my hair fell out, that was all I was known for. I'd never done anything. I hadn't, been on top of the pops, and I hadn't, been a runner, and not a runner as in a sprinter, but made teas and coffee, and stuff like going to college, and I don't know, just normal stuff. But I don't mind the mental health because it helps other people, and I don't mind the hair because it helps other people. But I think it was more the television side of things that was annoying me that way. I don't mind doing interviews about it, but it was when my hair fell out, all the jobs stopped. So things, I wasn't asked to present anything. I was asked to go on a panel as a guest and not get paid, and then talk about being bald. So not only was I not getting any work in, all the work I was getting was for free, and was just talking about the fact I wasn't getting any work. And it was kind of like, right, this is not going to work out because I need to pay the rent. And as much as I'm getting to do things, I'm doing everything for free. So that was kind of why I was getting a little bit upset about it, just thinking, I don't mind talking about it on telly, but you guys are getting paid. So, it's fine to do interviews with, or podcasts or anything like that, totally fine. But just feel like when you're going into a television studio and you know that everybody in the room is getting paid apart from you, and you're on there for like a couple hours, and you're just thinking, okay, this is a little bit weird.
It's pretty awful, really, isn't it? That when that happened, pretty much all of the jobs dried up overnight. To be honest, I saw you say that on the documentary, and I thought to myself, do you think that would still happen now? Because obviously that was quite a few years ago. There's been a maybe bit of a slight evolution. Do you think that would, if that's happened to somebody tomorrow now that was, presenting Top of the Pops, doing all these amazing shows, a model, been on the front cover of FHM, etc., and then all of a sudden, boom, no jobs anymore? Do you think?
Well, the thing is, I would love you to point me in at any decent jobs, to be honest with you. I'm not being funny, but in the 90s there was like all sorts of different things. There was Chris Evans doing TFI Friday, there was Sarah doing the early show, there was Top of the Pops, there was a Big Breakfast, there was fun things all over the place, and whole load of different people presenting them. Now you've got the same presenters doing the same shows, and it's kind of, well, you know what I mean. It's
I do know exactly what you mean.
You know what's on in the morning. Everybody knows what's on in the morning. You know what presenters are going to be on in the morning. During the day, you've got your daytime telly folk who you know who's going to be there, and in the evenings you've got your soaps, or you've got the news, or you've got a documentary. It wasn't like the 90s where Top of the Pops on a Friday, Big Breakfast every day. The presenters changed every other day. You didn't know who was. You'd maybe have sort of Denise and Johnny, then it would swap to Lisa Tarbuck and Johnny, or I'd do it with Johnny, or you'd get there's all sorts of people. Donna Eyre would be in, Kelly, all sorts. And they were all just swapping them all around all the time, and it wasn't in the papers going, oh well, that presenter's not turned up, what's happened here? You just switch on the telly in the morning going, who's it going to be today? What are they going to talk about? We didn't even know what we were talking about. We got given a script and it would just go out the window. Do
you know what, it felt like that watching though? It felt like it was just like people turning up and having a right laugh. It did feel like that.
The most fun ever. Obviously there was a structure, and there was all these wonderful people working behind the scenes, bless them, because they must have been having palpitations thinking,
what's going to happen?
We've given them all a script. We know who's coming in if they turn up, because obviously being extremely early in the morning, we were live at 7 a.m. And you imagine you've invited like a Carl Cox. He might have been out the night before, or you've invited a band in. They might have been, whether they turn up or not, who knows? And we've had our producers must have been just, I'm surprised I'm the one that lost my hair. I think in the 90s, it was more, we were having fun because we didn't have, we weren't worried about people taking photos on their phones on a night out. You don't worry about these sort of things. And I think, the presenters these days are absolutely brilliant at their jobs, and it's very safe because, we're in a world now where everything is very PC. You can't say the wrong thing. You can't, we were turning up maybe a little bit hungover, maybe still out from the night before. I mean, you know, this is not sort of exclusive stuff because I think people could tell, but not always, because obviously there was a lot of time. We were working a lot, especially if you were doing Top of the Pops, and then you were getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to get ready to do the big breakfast at 7 a.m. So you couldn't be going out. I think a lot of people thought we were all partying all the time, but it was just difficult for things like the big breakfast because obviously bands had been maybe gigging, doing stuff. And then to turn up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go live at 7 is not ideal for a lot of bands. But yeah, TV now has to be quite safe, I reckon, because people get up on everything. You can't see anything. And someone will say, oh, you can't see that. You know, you can't probably call me slaphead on the telly because someone will get pulled up. I don't care. You can do what you want. It doesn't bother me to play this. But the general public will go, oh, you can't say that. Oh, no. I don't care. But
that's my brother calls me 5 heads instead of 4 head because I've got such a big forehead you can fit 5 fingers on it.
Well, that's just brother. Your brother's mean. Your brother's mean.
He is mean actually, but I still love him.
I think that's brothers in general, right? So what would you say, Gail? Like, obviously I remember watching you on Top of the Pops, and it's hard to, you were so much energy and fizziness and happiness. You looked like you'd sort of died and gone to heaven on that program. You looked like you're just having the best time ever. Was that, what would you say has been the best bit of your career so far?
God, that's really hard to put. I mean, Top of the Pops is up there, absolutely. Because I used to watch it. We all used to watch Top of the Pops when we were kids.
100%. It was the thing. It was the thing.
Your hairbrush,
yeah.
Even though I don't have it now. Hairbrush. I used to have fingerless gloves. I used to dance and sing and pretend to present it. And then you get the phone call saying, are you available to present Top of the Pops when you're in your 20s? You just think, but I still get excited about anything.
I was going to say that's in one of the questions that we sort of posed. It's not something that you've lost. I think you've got that real sort of fizzy, happy, sort of quite conductive energy, definitely. Even when you were talking about some of the harder and more emotional parts on your documentary, that still comes through.
Yeah, I think after, like, I was pretty lucky, up down all the time, and then when I hit the low time when I had nothing and no money, no home, nothing, and that's when I was not happy.
No.
And then thinking, right, this is it. I can't see any way out of this. And then eventually I did manage to clamber my way out of it. So now every day is an absolute blessing once you reach that lowest. And then also I remember, I always keep thinking to myself, it could still happen again. You know, I never thought it would happen to me in the first time. So you've got to, every single day is a blessing, even if you're grumpy, which I do get grumpy sometimes. Even when I'm grumpy, it doesn't last that long. So
do you think you're, I'm going away from the question, so you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but do you think your priorities have changed since you've had those experiences in terms of what you find more important now? Is that completely changed for you, or is it similar to before? Or
no, I think obviously they have. Well, I've always been pretty chilled, and I know, you know, I know that I'm lucky, and I know I've worked hard, and appreciate every single thing in life. And you know, I was told I could never have children. I've now got an 18-year-old fantastic best friend of a daughter. So I think from that point I was thinking I was lucky, and from the point that I first ever got a job making tea for free, I thought I was lucky. And then when I was homeless, I was like, wow, okay, this is not so lucky. And then when I managed to get a roof over my head, I remember there was this flat, which I love this flat so much. I only rent it, but I love it. It's my happy place. And when I first came in here, I had no money to get furniture, no heating, no nothing. I just remember just lying on the floor and just thinking, I've got a roof over my head. Oh my God. And I still do. Every night I go to bed, I look at this little place and I just think, love it, love it, love it. And so, yes, I just appreciate every single day, because you don't know what's around the corner. You know, I don't think I've been paid. I can't even remember last time I did a paid job.
really?
You know, nobody's doing any work really. It's so difficult. I've got so many friends that work in bars and or shops and stuff, or retail, and you know, everything's getting cut down. And I wish I could help everybody, but you can't. I mean, you know, all my jobs were cancelled last March, because I was supposed to be doing lots of talks and stuff and going around the country, and everything gone. I mean, I can still talk online, but you know, no one's got any money, but it's totally fine. At least you get to see people and try and keep people smiling. But it's so hard for everybody. I mean, I'm pretty lucky, touch wood. I had a bit of savings, so I just kind of keep hoping that everything will be okay.
You just got to keep going, haven't you? So yeah,
I feel quite.
Right, I'm not going to drink at the beginning of lockdown, so I didn't. I had my dad passed away, unfortunately, a week before lockdown, and so I had to go to Spain, get him back here, and deal with all that. So I had sort of 6 weeks, and then my friends were phoning up and saying, "Oh, how's everything?" I said, "Yeah, fine. I think I'm sorting it." Well, it wasn't fine; it was awful. But then I was like, "Yeah, I'm not drinking." And then one of my friends just phoned me up, and said, "Why?" And I went,
"Yeah, I'm with your friends."
Why? I was straight up to the co-op. I was like, what am I thinking of? I just had 6 weeks crying, trying to phone lawyers, trying to close bank accounts with a cup of tea, going, do some press ups. And I was like, hang on a minute, I'm going to go mental for a week.
Do you know what? Sometimes you just need to unwind, don't you? And I think that the two sort of go hand in hand, don't they? Just kind of relaxing, unwinding, and then before you know it, where's all the wine gone? You know?
Exactly. Now it's back on the running, keeping myself focused. The best thing is just don't buy any. That's my thing. I don't buy any wine because I think, no, if it's not here, I'm not going to go out at 8 o'clock at night because it's too dark. B, I'm scared, and C, is it it actually could be quite deemed as necessary.
It's a necessary purchase.
Yeah.
What all you missed was I was asking Gail about obviously she was told that she couldn't have children, and then I asked about Gail's reaction when she found out Honey was in the house.
Well, what happened was the reason I was told I possibly couldn't have children is because I had anorexia for about between 7 and 9 years. I wasn't really counting, to be honest, but so didn't have any periods, didn't have normal bodily functions, all the rest of it, and gone to the doctors for something, and they said it's very unlikely that you're gonna, and also there's something wrong with my hormone balance or something. I don't know. I never listened to doctors, but so went in and they said possibly you can never have children. I was like, okay. And then for whatever reason, in fact, it was obviously after I met my husband, and I'd started eating a bit better. And then I had my first period in 7 or 8 years, 9 years. And it was just like, I was so ill and I couldn't figure out what was happening. And then I didn't get another one, but then I was so sick. And so we got the doctors out. I was supposed to be hosting an event in Birmingham and I couldn't even get out of my bed. It was the clothes show live. That's a long,
gosh.
And I couldn't go. I could not move. And I never missed jobs ever. And I was so excited to do this. So they got the doctor out. He thought I had gastroenteritis. And then they wanted to take me to hospital. And then he said, have you tried a pregnancy test? And I was like, no, I can't be pregnant. No. And then my husband got me a test. And I tried it and it said, you're pregnant. I was like, no. And then 7 tests later, they were all positive. And I was like, yeah, I think we're pregnant. And yeah, I was pregnant. And it was just the weirdest, most amazing. My mum was not, I don't know, my mum was always quite funny. She's very Scottish. And you're like, Mum, I'm going to have a baby. I think she just thought I was still a baby. She's like, all right. Okay. And then I was pretty ill for ages just because my body was just all over the place. But I was really hungry, so I just ate everything because I'd spent years starving myself. And then suddenly I thought, I've got this little miracle, I'm just going to eat. And so I ate lots of really weird stuff that she still eats now. I ate things like mushroom soup, but it had to be cold from a can. I know, she eats it like that. Marmite from a spoon.
Oh, that's hardcore.
Yeah, she loves that. So it was an okay pregnancy. I was up and down, obviously, because my body wasn't sure what was going on. And then I gave birth to a 8.12 pound.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, big old honey. So that was amazing. One's enough.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm the same, one-hit wonder. Sorry, say again, Gail.
What's your son?
He's 11.
Oh,
he's 11, Len. Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a character. But you're right. I never wanted a second child anyway. But I remember a lot of I say a lot. I've had the odd comment like, why aren't you giving him a sibling? And why have you only had one child and things like that. And I always just think,
None of your
people are
business.
exactly that. It was actually it was actually in a previous job. A manager said to me that I was selfish for not giving him a sibling, and I was like, you know, when you're torn between saying something really rude and then remembering you need the job to eat and live.
I think I'd have responded with fuck off to that one. That's bang out of
It was very tempting.
You have to wait until you've got another job lined up cleared, then get back and be abusive, and then, but not too mean.
100%. Yeah, just something sarcastic and rude. I think, you know, that does the trick.
Honey's delighted. It's just her, me, the cat. Fine. I think she's just, you know, and also financially, it's not, you know,
Kids
I'm quite
aren't
happy
cheap.
with it.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's, you know, I if people want loads of kids, that's great. But me at the time, I could afford my gorgeous daughter, and we were fine. And then, do you know what? If I'd had more, and then I hit that homeless time, and you know, I'm a bit more stable now, so that obviously helps, because I think, you know, when I was going through my up, down, rehabs, all the rest of it, losing my mind, getting sectioned, you know, your average
stuff, yeah, it's all perfectly standard.
Week.
Week. Imagine if that happened in a week. Goodness gracious me.
You pretty much did. That was the start of it anyway.
Did you find when you embarked on your documentary that it helped you sort of find some answers for yourself then, did you think? Or because you sort of went back, didn't you, and spoke to people from your past? And
yeah, it was interesting. I don't think I found out much. Maybe I did. I'm not entirely sure. I know that I feel really sorry for the entire crew. So there was myself, the director, the production assistant, and sometimes like one or two others. Sorry, I don't know if that's a parcel. So one or two others, but my moods were all over the place, like literally, because I was facing things that I kind of pretended didn't happen, or I didn't really think about too much. And then I had to go and speak to my friends, and I didn't even think that they knew anything was wrong with me. I thought I'd got away with everything. And then I'm interviewing them, and they're saying, we just didn't know what to say, and we knew that if we said something, you might have got worse, or we didn't know what you would take from us. And so yeah, that was quite upsetting. Then the poor director going, right, we're just going to do that again. I go, Eva! Oh, sorry. I'm going, oh, it's Gail Lovely. Eva! And then I go, oh, really sorry about that. And then I'll be crying, and all my emotions were coming out. And then I was doing all these interviews with doctors saying, oh, you've got bipolar. Oh, you're fine. Oh no, you've got bipolar 2. Oh, you've got borderline personality disorder. Oh no, you haven't got borderline. Oh, you have. So every single doctor had something different to say. And by the end of 5-6 months, I didn't know what I was. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just me. End of. Don't give me a label. Some people want a label. I don't want a label. I know that there's something just a wee bit, whatever. But you know what? I'm nearly 50. I've survived it. I don't want to take drugs. You know, I've done the drinking too much. I've done the drugs. I've done prescriptions. I've done things that I shouldn't be doing when I was younger, just to try and level out this roller coaster brain. And now I've just found, you know, my daughter, my flat, my running, smiling. It's taken me a while.
Yeah.
I think like when you hit those really hard times, and like, because I've had a period of time where I felt like almost out of control, and a bit like, what am I doing? Like, I've done things and I've been like, why have I done that? You know, which not recently, but I've had times like that. And I think that you do very quickly realise that who's in your life is supposed to be in your life, if you know what I mean. It's quite good for getting rid of people that don't necessarily love you for who you are, if you know what I mean.
The wrong people. Yeah.
I think I sort of clung on to, you know, when I was doing well in the 90s, we're all partying or whatever, there would be people in my house that I'd never met. And they were just in the house. There was a party that was not supposed to be a party, but there was just people there. And then people would be hanging around, and you'd be paying for stuff, and then you'd never see them again. And then as soon as everything went tits up for me, there was like a handful of people, out of all these people And then when I sort of got back a bit on my feet, then just before that, you know, when I was sort of going down rapidly, I think I was drinking too much. I was getting angry with people, probably saying things out of turn. And instead of people going, oh, do you know what? Maybe she's asking for help here. They're just going, oh, she pissed me off that night. And then instead of going, right, this is not Gail's behavior. Something's going on here. And then you kind of figure out, you know, I probably was a bit mean at some point, but I was feeling kind of, you just come, you take, and then I'm trying to ask for help. But instead of asking for help, I'll probably just get drunk and say something stupid and then go back to my bed and then just never phone you again.
That sounds perfectly healthy.
Exactly. And I wonder why I got sent off.
I think you're right, though. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we don't always respond to things when we're struggling in a way that we would like to imagine that we would. But real friends, like, you know, I feel really lucky. I've still got my best friend from school when I was 11. And I think I could virtually murder someone and she'd probably just say, I'll get a shovel. You know, you've got those those people that, like, they've no matter what got you back, and there's not many of them. And when something happens and the chips are down, that's when you really know who they are.
Exactly. I've got a few of them, so it's good.
And even if you're acting like a bit of a knob or whatever, they'd kind of pull you to one side and say, listen, mate, that's not cool. What's going on? Yeah. Oi, knob. You know, and they'd sort you out and they'd realise that there was something wrong. But yeah, I think you're right there. I've got to ask, like, obviously realising that when you did your FHM cover and then your bottom was projected all over the Houses of Parliament, that was obviously many years ago now, and to watch your documentary and have the enlightenment that you were not actually your approval wasn't sought before that was done, and obviously it was a massive publicity stunt. I remember looking at that and feeling a bit jealous. I was like, oh my god, she's got it all. Look how amazing she looks.
I was jealous. I didn't know who it was. I was like,
who's that? I mean, do you know the bit that messes with me as well? The fact they airbrushed your nipple.
Because it was offensive.
Yeah, not the huge bottom, not the fact that your entire body, naked body, is on the Houses of Parliament. The nipple was offensive. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry.
Every day, and that was not my bottom. I was looking at it going, no way is that me. It was airbrushed to hell. But yeah, it was a bit of a shock. Never got paid, wasn't told, totally illegal. But
apart from that,
people talk about it to this day, and it is one of those things you just think, well, it's not the sort of thing that you go to your local book club and go, did that happen to you? No. It's
no.
one for the TV, but then probably wouldn't get a job from it. They go, sorry, she was naked where? Yeah. My grandpa, before he died, actually, because my dad wouldn't acknowledge it, my mum was furious, and my grandpa bought 3 copies.
Yay, grandpa!
Yay, grandpa! He had them on his little table in the front room for him. And that's my granddaughter's arse.
Oh, bless. That's so nice. That's so nice. Everyone needs that family member. Everyone needs that support.
Walter Stanley Twiddy. That was my grandpa. Horatio Walter Stanley Twiddy. Yeah, you got 3 copies, alright.
Even if it was your airbrushed bum, you did look absolutely fabulous. But to understand that you actually weren't asked about that does put a completely different light on it. Somewhat.
I had no idea until I saw it in the news, so that was a bit of a shock. Yeah.
And you must have got, because there's young impressionable people like me watching it back then, thinking, oh, she's got it all. And then of course you don't realise at the time that A, you've not been asked, and B, there's probably a lot of people that don't react in the way that I did and give you a load of grief for having. Yeah, I mean that.
You got the mixture of some people going, oh, go on, good on you, and then the other people, disgusting and disgraceful, and you're terrible for women's rights and women, you just put up. And so I was just like, oh my god, yeah, I knew I'd done the picture obviously, but I didn't expect it to be like that. I thought it's going to be something little, didn't get paid, nothing major, and then it was kind of everywhere, on every newspaper, on every news program, and everyone had a comment. Everybody had a comment, so it was kind of nice comments were great, creepy comments were creepy.
Yeah, not a lover of the creepy.
Some people were very angry with me, so it was kind of stayed in quite a lot, to be honest with you. After that,
I think you said you were pretty much in bed, weren't you, for like a couple of weeks after that? Just couldn't face all of the.
I was going to the jobs that I had to do, and then I'd get home and either stay in and just shut the curtains and not answer the phone, or just go to bed or something, and then get up the next day, go to smile, go to your job, do everything. It's all fine. Then get a bit of abuse, get a bit of niceness. Huh?
Did you have anyone checking in on you at that point? Because I know you said your parents maybe were angry.
I think my trainer at the gym, she was quite good with me, because I'd go to the gym about 6 a.m. if I wasn't doing the big breakfast, and get in there first. She'd be there, and she was always popping in and checking up and checking on my eating more than anything else, because she was watching me get smaller and smaller, because I was just like, oh my God. And it wasn't anything to do with the way that I looked. It was just my way of dealing with being anxious. So, I could either overeat or undereat, and at that point I just stopped, and then I got barred from the gym. So she would come to my house to say, I hope you're not running, I hope you're not doing this, I hope you're eating. And she'd bring me some vegetables in a steamer, and then I'd chuck them out, and then she'd bring them back again, and then I'd chuck them out. But that was just my way of dealing with stuff.
That's it though, isn't it? Like my mum's sort of saying is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Like, even when people are trying to look after you, if you're not in a good place and you're not in that sort of, you're not in a place where you're going to eat, then you just sort of think, oh, that's very nice of them, but I don't need that, and chuck it away.
You just pop it in the fridge. You go, that's great, thanks very much, chuck it out. But Angie, my friend, unfortunately, she's no longer with us. She took her own life, but
oh God,
she was constantly, because she was like had issues, and but she brings stuff round to my house, and then I used to think she'd gone. And then I'd go out to go to the bins, and she's like, all right?
Still lingering, trying to catch you out.
Yeah, she's like, I need you.
You get rumbled on the way to the bin.
Because the thing is as well, I didn't want to keep it in the house, because I thought if I keep it in the house, then I suddenly want to binge. I'll eat everything, because I can't do half of anything.
No, a bit all or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So even now, if I want a glass of wine, it has to be like a little one of those miniature ones.
Yeah.
So like a little red one, because if I buy a bottle, I'll have it all night.
That's very well behaved.
I know. I haven't drunk for God, I don't know how long, but I will do, because I'm going to be 50 soon. So my daughter's like, "Are we having margaritas?"
Yeah. Oh,
like,
love margaritas. What are you going to do for your? Obviously, we're a little bit restricted.
Nightclub.
Go wild.
I'm going to be in the house with my daughter. Well, it's on a Tuesday. Yeah, why not? So she's still doing all her college work. So I think she's going to come to mine at the weekend, and we're going to put on some music. I'm going to get a karaoke.
Yes. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be able to sing karaoke.
I'm going to open the window and sing to the neighbours. They're going to hate me. Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about, I lost one of my jobs once, having been sexually harassed or discrimination, whatever you want to call it, by a much more senior person at work. And you mentioned the Me Too movement when you were doing your documentary. And I just thought to myself, given your career and all of the different opportunities you've had, like what kind of brushes with any kind of sort of sexism or issues like that have you had, if any?
Nothing that I really know of. I mean, do you know, when I was doing I was really lucky. I had great bosses. Occasionally, you'd get the odd lewd comment or something, but nothing that would make. I think I was pretty much looked after myself, and I had people like agent wise would look after you, so they would deal with sort of money. So that side of like being a woman, and obviously pay would be different whether you're male or female, but to me at the time, I was working, I was happy, I wasn't thinking too much about those things. And in the workplace, I think I got more harassed when I was working as a unpaid runner, do you know what I mean? Just like going into film edit suites or whatever, and with businessmen who've had a few to drink, and you're taking in teas and coffees. But I mean, I've worked in so many different places, so no one can pinpoint where I'm talking about. But you would get kind of comments on the way you looked, or they'd sort of talk to you in a kind of
pervy way,
reading kind of I'm just the girl that made the tea. Obviously I've never studied, I'm really thick because I had blonde hair, and so people would kind of treat you a little bit like that. But when I was working in fact 90% of the jobs I did on television, everybody I worked with was fantastic. No one was mean. I was lucky. I know a lot of females that have had really dodgy encounters, but I've had people treat me as if I'm thick, which sometimes they make you feel thick as well, because also, you know, when you're doing jobs, especially when I was doing film reviews and stuff, and I was interviewing people that had come over from America, and maybe I might not have liked the film, or I'd ask a question that, to me, I was thinking, right, I'm asking a question because I don't really understand what part of that film. And then there was a couple of guys would sort of look at you as if to go, oh my God, who is she? Why is she interviewing me? And you just think, well, hang on a minute, how much are you getting paid to sit in the Dorchester all day? Yeah. I'm just coming in. I've got 3 minutes to ask you a few questions that I would like to ask you, and you're getting paid X amount, and you're staying here, and you've got champagne on tap, and I've got 3 minutes. Don't ask this, don't ask that, don't get out, that kind of thing. So that used to make me quite nervous. If the females were always fantastic and lovely, not all of them actually. There's a couple that were a bit mean, but sometimes
I won't ask.
No, don't ask. But some of the men would just sort of like look you up and down as if to go, you know, God, she's young, or she's not a male, or, you know, you just knew it, and you just thought this is going to be the interview. And that used to sort of really knock my confidence. So, but when you had a great interview, it'd be fantastic. But no, I was pretty lucky. I do know I was paid a lot less than male counterparts, but I was paid enough to keep me going, and I was happy. And I was not, you know, I was just happy having a job, to be honest with you. But no one was really touchy-feely or...
Well, that's nice to hear. I'm glad.
I watched, what I can remember anyway.
So, who was the most fun person that you interviewed then?
Oh my God. I don't know. There were so many really, really lovely people. It's such a difficult question. I interviewed Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet for The Holiday. I hated film, but they were really, really, really fun and nice. Yeah. And because the two of them were together, that always makes it
a bit more fizzy.
Yeah, so they're kind of like bouncing off each other, and me being a girl as well, and Cameron was so tall, and I was like, oh my God, you're so tall. And she's like, you're so small.
Cameron Diaz has the most beautiful smile as well, doesn't she? She's like a Cheshire cat.
I think she's given up the film. It's like working in front of the camera too.
I think she has.
And then I did get a message saying, what are you doing on Saturday? From a producer, and I said, oh, I don't know. Thinking, oh, not a Saturday, I've got a day off. And they said, would you go to Paris and interview Robert De Niro? I was like, hang on a minute.
Oof, that's
so I
I
went to Paris and interviewed Robert De Niro, and he was with Billy Crystal.
Oh my God.
He did a film called Analyze This.
Yeah. Or is it yeah, that's it. Yeah, Analyze This.
Then the second one
Analyze That. That's it.
And they were terrible, terrible films, but I didn't care. I was going. And Robert De Niro was very quiet. But Billy Crystal made up for him tenfold, and he was just as you'd imagine Billy Crystal to be. I was super nervous, and it was Robert De Niro. I mean, I did my dissertation on Taxi Driver, and then suddenly he's sitting.
Gosh. And then he's in front of you.
Yeah, so I'd gone all the way from London to Paris on the Eurostar, got 3 minutes, straight back on the Eurostar, straight back. It was the weirdest job.
Gosh.
But he was lovely. I mean, most people, I can't remember, there's a couple of people that have been awkward. Obviously, there's going to be people that are going to have a bad day or something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that I've been sometimes when I've talked to people, just sort of like, ugh. But I think if you're getting paid millions, be nice.
Yeah, you did an interview with Loose Women. I don't know if it was an interview, but you were on Loose Women in 2017. And when I watched that, it made me feel uncomfortable with the tone of some of the questions that they asked you around. Was
I bold or was it weird?
I think you were bold at the time. And you had it just come out about your bankruptcy. Which it wasn't your choice to make that public. Obviously, it becomes public knowledge anyway.
It goes into the papers right away. As soon as you're bankrupt, it's common knowledge. So yeah, that was all very embarrassing. Well, yeah, shit happened.
Yeah, do you know what? It does.
Oh, it does. And I think as a parent, like, it's so difficult, isn't it? When you're juggling everything, and particularly, you know, with all of the struggles that you'd had around that time. So you said that you found it really difficult to open letters and things. And like, I can empathise with that because I've had money problems in the past. Like, and I've always thought to myself, what's the point in opening them when I know I can't even pay him? And why am I going to open that? I'll just shove it in a drawer, and when I've got the money, then I'll open it and figure out what I can and can't pay, but I'm not even going to look at it until I've figured out how I'm going to do it.
Keep adding. I found all that out,
Yeah. So how would you do things differently if that was to ever happen again? Hopefully, obviously, touch wood, that doesn't. And what would your advice be to other people?
Open the letters for one, and then do you know what? After everything that happened, and then people were outside my door, like bailiffs and stuff, and I was hiding. I was thinking, oh my God, I don't know what to do. This is shocking. But I didn't really own much, but I didn't want to let them in. And I was phoning friends going, what do I do? And they're like, just do not let anybody in the house at any point.
No.
And then luckily I found this company, because there's lots of like these debt companies. I was very wary about all these people. There's a company called Credit Fix, and Charlotte, if you ever get yourself into this problem again, you call Credit Fix, mention my name. They saved my life, like literally saved my life. They don't, like, they just sit you down and just talk you through it, like A, B, C. This is what we're doing. This is how we deal with it. But I waited a wee bit too late. I was bankrupt. It was all done, and then eventually someone put me in touch with them, and I went up and they just talked to me as if I was a human being, as opposed to I'm just a statistic and I'm just gonna, be paying them loads and loads of interest. None of that happened. They just sorted everything out from scratch, and it was just so amazing to talk to them. It's difficult to talk to your friends because a lot of people won't understand what kind of debt you're in, and also sometimes you don't want to tell everybody exactly. These people, they didn't know me, I don't know them, and I was like, this is the shit that I'm in. And they said, right, okay, it's not that bad, we can do this. And I was like, really? I thought there was no getting out, and they just sorted it all for me, and it was just the best decision I ever made. It was hard because it's acknowledging that you've got yourself in shit, because I was doing exactly as you say, everything went under because I was like, I can't pay for it, so I may as well just ignore it. And also I didn't even have enough money to make phone calls, so I had no credit. And trying to explain that to companies when they're writing to you, and I was like, I can't call you back, you need to call me, because I've been waiting on a line that goes, right, in your credit is, because I'm pay as you go, because I was running out of money, I couldn't get a contract. So it was just one thing after another. Couldn't call them because I didn't have enough money, couldn't pay the bills, didn't have enough money, so just put them under the bed. Terrible thing to do, because you just get worse.
I don't think most people understand what it means to have no money. Like I don't think a lot of
pound.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people actually get that concept. Like they can say like, oh, I'm skint. Like skint to me is I need to live off the tins that are in my cupboard and I can't afford to do a food shop. Whereas skint to someone who's never been in that place probably is, I can't get that dress that I want to wear on Friday night and I can only drink tins and not get a bottle of Prosecco. Do you know what I mean? Like it's two very different things, isn't it?
I know you're skint. I used to get excited if there was like a $5 in my account. That's how skint I was.
Yeah.
And I used to keep going, and even people had owed me money from a job, even if it was like £100 from a job 4 months ago, and I couldn't even phone them to say, can you put that £100 in, because you don't understand that's £100 that I haven't got. So yeah, I was skint as in zero in the bank account, nothing. So yeah, I know where you're coming from with that one. Because I do, like when people say I'm really skint at the moment, and then you see them like going out to the out to take away,
and you're not that skint.
Like, I can't even get a Diet Coke from Sainsbury's. What's going on here?
I know.
But being that low, so it can't get any worse, I guess.
So
I have to ask, Gail, when you did Celebrity Big Brother, how was that? That looked like it would just be such a head beep. The whole thing.
I thought I did it because I was skint, and I thought, you know what, I'll be out first one out easy, because I'll be emotional and I'll be boring and no one's going to want to keep me in. Day 20, I was like, you're effing kidding me.
Me out.
Day 20, I was just sitting in the dining room going, I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart,
vote me out.
Get me out, because it's such a tiny house.
And
the level of noise was just too much. It was, no one could have a conversation. It had to be one person's there, next one has to be louder, next one has to be louder, and you just like, and they were so dirty. Not everybody, there was lots of lovely people too, but like cleaning up and like at the makeup station or in the bathrooms, and you just like, just clean up. I did lose my rag. I was kind of calm most of the time, and then there was Stevie and Chloe. They were on the X Factor. They were X Factor people. They were a couple.
Yeah, I remember just about.
I didn't get on with her at all. And at first I was pretending, and then eventually after so long, you just get out of my space. And there was one day, because I love cleaning, everything had to be cleaned. So I was constantly cleaning. That just kept my brain busy and kept everything going. It was like day 18 or something. She's like, Gail, where do the clean plates go? And I went, same place they've been for the past 3 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, I mean, there is only 4 cupboards, and she didn't know where the plates went. And I was like, that's 3 weeks.
Oh.
What have you been doing for 3 weeks? And that was it. And she just went, I was like, oh God, don't cry on me. Because I was crying. I think I never watched it back, but everyone's like, oh, you cried all the time. I think I cried about 5 or 6 times. But, you know, when they edit it, you see 1 hour of all of us. And we've got 24 people screaming, shouting, calling each other names. We had security came in as well to try and pull people off each other. It's really intimidating.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, do you know what? It paid for this little deposit for me to rent this little flat, which I'm quite happy at, with my cat and my fairy lights and my cup of tea.
Perfect. That's good news. That's good to hear.
Would you say it ever gets any easier? Like, obviously, when you, like, throughout your whole career, I guess, and obviously coming out of Celebrity Big Brother, you're like right in the media eye, aren't you? And you've got all that attention on you.
Stayed in my flat for a couple of weeks. I just stayed in my flat.
Is that what you do to try and sort of cope with it? You just stay in, hide away from it?
Yeah.
Fair play.
I decided, phone off, sat with the cat, stayed in, occasionally go to the supermarket. And because every time it was kicking off in the Big Brother house, I'd say, would anybody like a cup of tea? And so every time I go up to the supermarket, somebody, I didn't realize so many people watched it. I thought it was all game over.
Yeah.
But someone would come up and go, Gail, would you like a cup of tea? I'm like, oh yeah. It was quite funny for week 1. Week 2, I was like, oh God, Gail, would you like a cup of tea? I was like, yeah, no. I think
not so much.
They must have obviously used that as my kind of thing. So I don't know. They said I was either like a bit weepy or making cups of tea when things were kicking off. I made a lot of tea.
I think that's the problem, though, isn't it? They're editing it for the drama. Yeah. So, if there's a moment that's kind of everything's going south, or you're being sort of, you know, losing your shizzle for a minute, that's what they're looking for, isn't it? They're looking for that drama, and it would make me an absolute bag of nerves.
Well, somebody said, so do you want copies of the tape so you can watch it back? And I went, are you mental? No. Why would I possibly in any way? And do you know how many, like, some of the people were like, oh, have you watched it back yet? People that were in the house, I was like, why?
Oh God.
Why would you watch it back? What are you going to gain from that? But I mean, you know, I understand that people might want to see what people were seeing of them, but I was not interested. I was like, do you know what? I've managed to get a wee deposit. Happy days. Cat's happy. I'm happy. Thanks very much. Thanks for the deposit. See you later. Probably will never speak to any of you again. Bye.
I think that's the perfect response, to be perfectly honest.
So what sort of plans do you have coming up, or do you have any projects coming up? I know it's really difficult because you were saying during lockdown, but I'm sure some things have probably been put on hold. Is there anything in particular that you've got coming up that you're looking forward to, or?
Yeah, well, I've been faffing around with a book for about 4 years, and I did have a publisher decided didn't want the book a few years back, so I lost my confidence, and then I started writing again, and now I've got a publishing agent, so the book's out and about. And there's another thing that's happening which is quite exciting, but I'm not allowed to say.
Oh no.
So it could be a very different direction, but a really good direction. And I've just, BBC Scotland are wanting me to do a couple more documentaries with them. They're the ones that did Being Gail Porter. So, and we won a BAFTA for it. So that was great. Yeah. So
that was fantastic.
I was so chuffed when we got a BAFTA. I was like, wow, that's
amazing.
So we were very pleased with that. So we're in the middle of writing a documentary up in Scotland, actually, with a really fantastic comedian that I love to bits, and I've worked with her before, and hopefully we're going to do a kind of like a girls tour of Scotland, but sort of covering everything from music to comedy to just seeing all, and also how we were supposed to be filming it kind of now, but obviously lockdown we can't. So we'll see how that goes. It's still sort of in production, and we're figuring things out but I think that's pretty much going to happen. So I can't wait to go home, which would be great, and go up to the Highlands and the islands and everything. So that'll be beautiful. And yeah, that's about it really. I've got, I'm just keeping myself busy, and I'm writing a lot. So writing ideas for telly programs, writing a few ghosty things.
Wow.
So, yeah, I just think I sort of felt like I said to my daughter, I should have been learning Spanish or Italian or something. I feel like I've wasted almost a year. And she's like, well, your dad died. You sorted all that out. You probably got drunk for about 2 weeks. I went, oh, yeah. Then it was Christmas. Then you're doing talks every single day with people. And I went, oh, yeah. Plus you got your podcast. I was like, oh, yeah. And she went, and you're on Islington Radio. I went, oh, yeah. So I do Islington Radio every week now. That's on Mixcloud on a Friday. So that's good. So I get to sometimes go into the studio. Yeah, I've been going into the studio because I just have a studio to myself and the producers in the different room. So I kind of go in. At least it gets me out. Go and sit in a room on my own, which is a bit weird. And then come all the way back home again and do it again the next week. So yeah, keeping going. What about you ladies? What are you up to?
Well, you go first, Claire.
Oh no, I'm trying to think of something exciting to say now. So obviously I'm still I'm a copywriter, so I write for a lot of different clients, do quite a lot of social media. For everybody wants social media at the moment, so that's kind of having a bit of a peak. But yeah, I think we're very excited about this side of what we're doing for now, and obviously you're the first guest, which is up here, so I'm hoping it doesn't slide downhill now. As far as I'm concerned, no matter what happens in the future now, this has literally been one of the best hour and a halves ever.
You're very kind. I haven't got anything yet. I don't know what you want.
You've set the bar very high, but we've managed to get a few people lined up, like guests that have sort of agreed to come on, and the response has been really, really good so far. So that's really promising, and obviously we've got you for our first guest, so that's amazing.
Thank you very much for asking me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, and I'm the same as Claire in respects to sort of helping people with their social media, but more geared towards the LinkedIn side of things. So yeah, keeps us busy, doesn't it, Claire?
It does. It does. And we like a few giggles on the side as well. Good. We like to keep it fun.
Good. That's the main thing. Keep smiling, keep laughing. That's all
Definitely.
we can do.
Exactly.
Definitely. Well, good luck for your sort of test run this evening.
Yes. I'm sure it'll be fine. Well, I've got that at 8, and I've got a talk 5:30 till 6:30, or possibly 7:30, depending on how many people are logging in to talk. And
it'll be amazing.
Fantastic.
Well, keep in touch. And
we will.
We can all go for a wee cocktail for my 50th somewhere.
Oh my God, my treat.
And Charlotte's just died and gone to heaven.
Yeah,
actually.
I have. I would love that.
Perfect.
All right then. Well, have a lovely evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And if you need anything, just keep in touch.
Thank you so much.
And you,
right, Gail.
Thanks,
bye.